Hello and welcome to We Could Do It Better with Jonah Maple and Grant Koven. It is October 10th of 2024, and this is our 7th episode. We've got a lot on the plate today. We've got some big stuff happening in the comics world, especially in DC, and we've got our Joker 2 review that's going to be coming up soon.
So we're going to preface this. We're going to go through our regular... I should get the mic closer to my face. We're going to go through our regular segments that we do throughout the day. Multiverse of Movies, Don't Change Your Channel, Game Over, Comic Corner, stuff like that. But we're going to give you our first thoughts about all of our Multiverse of Movie news. But then we're going to give a little bit of a spoiler review for Joker 2. But we'll let you know when we're going to go into this. But you can tune back in around 3:30 because that will be when we're wrapping up. So we'll let you know when it's time to, maybe mute us, change the channel, go do something else. And then at 3:30 you can come back and join us no matter what, because we're going to try to cut ourselves off right at 3:30. So we're still going to cover all of our usual segments, but we're going to kick it off with... You went to go see Transformers 1?
Yes, I saw Transformers 1 on Tuesday night. This is something, I was thinking about seeing before. I like Transformers. I'm not like a huge Transformers fan, but, I like it. I've consumed a bit of Transformers media. And this is something that I saw almost no marketing for, but I saw just kind of in everyone who saw it so far, liked it. And especially in the parts of the internet I am at, everyone was like, guys, you gotta see Transformers 1.
I feel like, yes, I was reading an article earlier about how marketing really did fail Transformers and how it's an amazing movie, but it just should have had more stuff put out about it.
It is spectacular. It is beautiful.
Hemsworth as Optimus Prime doesn't deter you as much.
It's a little bit weird at first. I got used to it. It's a different voice, but sometimes I'm like, that's Hemsworth. But this is definitely a go see movie. I think you're gonna love it. I think the vast majority of people are going to love it. It's the animation is some of the best that I've ever seen.
I'm planning on, speaking of animated movies, I keep hearing really good things about that Wild Robot movie.
Yeah, that's next on my list. I'm definitely I'm going to see that too.
I heard grown adults are walking out of the theater sobbing.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like I haven't since Deadpool and Wolverine, I haven't really cried that much. So
yeah. But Transformers, you got to see. It's beautiful. It's not like the animation is like the robot CG is great, and the
because Megatron and Optimus Prime are initially start out as friends, right?
Yeah, there's a beautiful friendship there. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a beautiful story. It's a powerful story. I keep on saying the animation, but it's so great. It's some of the best 3D animation I've ever seen. It's everyone should see it, and it's a powerful movie. It's powerful, about friendships, and it's about tyranny and fascism, which it's just great. The voice acting is very good. It's very well written, and the action is amazing.
Yeah,
too.
We've also got Venom 3 on the horizon, which is not yet rated, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be PG-13.
It's coming out October 24th. Is it weird that it's not yet rated yet? Because it's coming out in 2 weeks.
That is a little odd. I feel like ratings are usually announced earlier. I would expect a rating in the next couple of days, and when we're back here next Thursday, we can absolutely report in on that. But I think it's safe to say that it's going to get that PG-13 rating. If any of the Venom movies was going to get hit with a rated R rating, it should have and could have been Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah.
It really should have.
Dumb name, but
I know you hate that name for Venom.
Well, just call it Maximum Carnage or Absolute Carnage.
But there wasn't Maximum Carnage. Maximum Carnage is giving it a rated R movie and letting Cletus Cassidy do his thing.
Yeah, I guess. But it is weird because don't they normally like design it to be PG-13 or rated R?
I mean, I guess anyone who doesn't live under a rock has seen the trailers, and Venom is literally biting heads off. And like, yes, the camera angles work to the point where there's no blood or gore that, the audience has to see. But I'm like, he's biting people's heads off. Like, they are purposefully dodging that rated R rating, probably because they can market it to a wider audience instead of, because especially now, I feel like there's quite a lot of kids, younger than us that have definitely taken a liking to Venom, and, probably it would hurt ticket sales if they, make it rated R. And
yeah, I think that's a traditional thought, but also like Deadpool and Wolverine came out and that was rated R, and a ton of people saw that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I worked I was working at a movie theater for the past 8 months.
Then let's blame it on Sony and their inability to make their fans happy.
Well, and like a lot of there were like a lot of teenagers seeing that movie.
Yeah.
A lot of preteens, a couple 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds. But so I feel like there's a rising stock in rated R movies. And it kind of started with the first Deadpool and Joker. So
yeah.
It's kind of weird that it's not, considering it's like Venom. But I'll see it regardless.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess.
So am I. I mean, I think this is gonna be a nice send off to. I did read that if you're someone who stays for the post credit scenes, Venom: The Last Dance will have 2 post credit scenes. Believe it or not. So that either, because I know Sony and Marvel are currently working on their relationship with each other. So I think it's safe to say with Secret Wars coming up, we'll definitely have a pretty good look at having Tom Holland's Spider-Man bond with the symbiote. So,
I mean, sure.
You never know.
I mean, at this point, it'd be nice if if the next Spider-Man movie is street level, but I just
I don't think I've heard nothing but reports about how it's going to be anything but a street level story.
I do want to see Spider-Man swinging through New York, because that's something that we haven't gotten for a while.
We really haven't.
But more than that, just I hope that the people who make the movie that they want to make, and I think that's where good stuff comes.
Yeah.
Last thing we'll say about Venom. Last thing I had to say. Once again, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman aren't getting paid by Sony, even though they created the character Null, who's supposedly going to be the villain. So that kind of sucks. There's a long history of that.
Blame it on Sony.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel also is bad at this.
Well, yeah,
but I think they're a little bit better. But they created, but these are people who are working and created this character 8 years ago, and there's going to be a major movie that's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars on it, and they're not going to see a penny of that money, which kind of stinks.
Yeah,
but just something that we should bring up more.
Up next, this isn't necessarily pertaining to movies, but I didn't know where else we could fit this in, since we don't really talk about this sort of stuff on our show. But I've been, not like I'm going to get it, but the new Lego X-Mansion came out. And I've been following this for a while. I've seen all the concept builds and whatnot, just seeing what it would possibly look like. And we got hit with a pretty steep price tag of a whopping $329.99.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I might actually consider buying this. I haven't bought Legos in a long time. And it was like $330. And
I mean, it's steep.
That's a lot of money.
But it's modular, so you're gonna be able to remove the walls and the floors, and you can put the figures in. I've got the Lego Daily Bugle, and I do love it. It sits on my nightstand, and I get to look at it every night I go to sleep, and it's really cool to just watch all these, because it came with 3 Spider-Man. It came with Gwen Stacy, Miles Morales, and Peter Parker. But I do love at least looking at the Lego sets. If I ever go to a mall, I have to go to the Lego store or the Lego section. And just look. Like, I know, especially now, we're broke college kids. We can't afford Lego sets, but it's still cool to look at least.
Yeah.
And I know, like, my Lego store, like the one in Castleton, they're probably at least going to have one built and displayed out. So it might be worth, checking out. Yeah. Anyways, also in nerd news, Marvel is reportedly working on another Silver Surfer project with Matt Shakman, who also is doing WandaVision and the Fantastic Four First Steps movie, which is interesting because it was confirmed earlier this year that Julia Garner is playing the female version of the Silver Surfer. Yes. So with this happening, I bet we're going to get to see Norrin Rad, Silver Surfer.
Maybe.
And it'll be maybe because Galactus is supposed to be making his way into this movie as well. And I'm thinking, maybe the title of Herald passes on from do you know the female Silver Surfer's name?
I have it right here. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I've read a lot of Fantastic Four, but I'm not like a huge Fantastic Four.
Sure.
Shallabal.
So maybe it's Shallabal passing the title on to Norrin Rad. But nevertheless, I think it's, I'll never... there was a Silver Surfer miniseries a while back in a cartoon. And I did read the Silver Surfer miniseries, and I think it would work as a show for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be like a cosmic exploration type show. I mean, this is exactly what the Fantastic Four movie is going to be, centered around, is cosmic exploration. So I'm excited.
Well, obviously, it's hard to speculate about that since we don't know exactly what's going to happen in Fantastic Four next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like Galactus is the main villain, but is Galactus still gonna be there at the end? Is the Silver Surfer still gonna be the man? Gonna pass on a man? Like we don't really know what's happening besides that there's a Fantastic Four movie and that there's gonna be a Silver Surfer in it, and that there's gonna be Galactus in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think a Galactus movie or show could be cool. I'm sure it would be very expensive, so I would assume that they go for a movie.
Do you think they'd do a Silver Surfer movie?
Well, I mean, if they were going to do a show or a movie, I think there would be... Because it would be sci-fi. It would be in space, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would work as a show. Maybe it would.
Okay.
I don't know, but that'd be... I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, yeah. I think Silver Surfer is a cool concept. Getting to explore that, the more like poetic and Kirby-esque sides of the DC universe.
Philosophical.
Yeah.
The kind of hippie. He kind of gives off like a cool hippie.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Yeah. Kind of. It's a complicated character.
I know. But we've only got about 15 minutes, so I think we need to go into this very quickly. We're going to break down Joker. So if you're currently listening, come back around 3:30. We're just going to do a whole bunch of Joker spoilers. We're not holding anything back. So come back around 3:30, and you'll be right on time for Don't Change the Channel. We will not be a minute over.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Joker 2 and you want to see it, then go ahead and do that. If you don't want to see it, that's fine. You can keep listening. All right.
Let's
begin now.
Let's do a little debate. So, okay. I'm going to first time I saw the movie, I thought Folie was a solid 7 out of 10. I of course had my issues with it, but from a technical standpoint, I think it worked very well as a movie.
I'm gonna try to be careful. I don't like to hate on media because a lot of people they spent $200 million in this movie. A lot of people worked in this movie. There were parts of this movie that worked, I think, pretty well. Obviously a lot of the acting is very good. It was shot very well, even if I have some problems with it. And the effects were great, although I'm to the extent that they're there. I don't know what they spent $200 million on.
Mm-hmm.
It beats me.
Well, a lot of it went to Fleck and Gaga, or Joaquin Phoenix and Gaga.
Yeah. I was not a fan. We were there. Like, we watched it together. We were there. I think part of this, I will admit, part of this is just how I approach comic characters and the Joker specifically. Like, my approach is, I've read a lot of Grant Morrison. I read their nonfiction book, thinking of them as mythological characters where, even if they're in a different universe, they have, aspects of their being that make them the Thing.
Sure.
And this Joker doesn't fit within that concept of Elseworlds Jokers all have something that makes them the Joker. Mm-hmm. They're all serial killers. They're they're all.
But I feel like the insanity thing is literally the entire point of Joker. Yeah, if you didn't have a insane Joker, that's not Joker. But the insanity part is the biggest part of what makes Joker Joker. And I think in this one it really explored what insanity looked like.
Yeah. In they did that interesting. They did some interesting things with it. I'm not a fan of how both of these movies approach mental illness. Yeah. The main thing for me is just to me the character Joker, even if it's not our Joker, comics Joker, mm-hmm. is a serial killer, an abuser, and a child murderer. So I'm gonna have a hard time sympathizing with a character, even if they try to make that character sympathetic mm-hmm. and the protagonist. That's I admit that is probably a lot of reason why I couldn't give this movie as much of a chance it probably deserved. That being said, there were a lot of things I didn't like this movie.
Do you think that, do you think Folie Deux deserved a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes? Do you think that's fair?
I don't know, because it's higher than Madam Web, and I think I liked Madam Web more, but
that's crazy.
But that's crazy. Because there were
Madam Web was laughable.
This movie was also laughable to me. There was the one thing that we can't describe without the FEC getting mad at us.
Can we say doing it?
Yeah, we could probably say doing it. And it was very short, and it was laughable. It was supposed to be sad, but it was
Harley and Joker were doing it, and we couldn't help but laugh. At first I was straight up mortified at first, because I'm what are we looking at? Because it was you, me, my girlfriend, and my two other friends. And we were the only ones in the row together. At least I think we were.
Yeah, it was not a very packed theater.
And we were just looking at each other because we were what is going on?
Yeah, there are a lot of weird choices made in the movie, and I like it when movies try different things. I like when they try. I think Nicolas Cage has been on a great run over the past 3 years, doing interesting movies.
Yeah.
I like it when they do that. I like it when people do new stuff with comic book material.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Doom Patrol fan.
Yeah.
I want you to do non-superhero stuff.
You're a Doom Patrol fan?
Yeah, I'm wearing a Doom Patrol shirt. I want you to do new stuff, but the movie wasn't about the myth, what the character Joker has been about mm-hmm. for 85 years.
Sure. Now, here's what I will say. Because I upon my second watch, I did take a notebook, and I just want to see if any of these things at all would resonate with you. There is a part where this was where I got a good chuckle, because Arthur Fleck was, I think he was leaving to court. I think he was going to the courthouse, and there's a security guard, and he slides him the book by Murray Franklin, and he's like, "Can you sign my book?" And then Arthur Fleck he was gonna write at first, put on a happy face, and then once the guy leans back to another security guard, and he's like, "This is gonna make me a whole lot of money once they fry him." Then he scratches it out and writes, "I hope you get cancer," and then with a little smiley face. And that seemed very on brand for Joker to do in that specific instance.
I guess, yeah. There were some great moments in this movie.
When Joaquin Phoenix did it's literally the song called "The Joker." The soundtrack was amazing. I don't care what anyone thinks.
The soundtrack was good.
The soundtrack was really, really good. I love that. I've been listening to it probably every morning, like as I'm like walking to class. It's just like it's so catchy, and you know I can almost kind of do what Arthur Fleck does and like get into my own world, and suddenly I'm seeing the musical, and except the Joker is me, and I'm like, you know, singing. Like it's just never mind. I sound almost insane when that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, like sorry.
But no, go ahead.
I don't think that the music was bad, but I don't think Todd Phillips and like the other people like understood musicals, because nothing happened in a musical. It's not just, the songs aren't just there, you know, like in the Joker, like it gives insight to the character, I guess.
Didn't Harley Quinn and Joker try to escape Arkham during one of their musical numbers?
Yeah, but it wasn't really that was like the closest we got to a musical being a scene. It like, and all that happened during that was them running away. Like there was no decisions being made during songs. Like the characters didn't grow during the songs. I
guess that's fair.
And that's like in a like the musicals aren't just there for dressing or for stylization. In a song, like stuff is supposed to happen. Like even if it's not diegetic, it's something like that is happening in the real world.
I do think that at the same time, while yes, you do have a fair point that a lot of musicals do usually have like crucial parts of the story sprinkled in throughout musical numbers, you have to remember like most of the musicals did take place in Arthur Fleck's head. Yes. And I think that makes it better because he thinks he's living in a musical. And I do love that.
Yeah, but like that's how musicals always work. It's not something that's actually like it's almost never actually diegetic. In High School Musical, they're not actually like in like the plot of the movie. They're not actually singing those songs, but something like that is happening in the real universe where they're making decisions and having similar conversations. Sure. But the Joker 2 was so heavy-handed with it. Like they made sure like at the end of each song to like say, to like have something that's like, don't worry audience, this didn't really happen.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't need to do that. I think that's kind of annoying.
Here's what I think we could have afforded to cut, because I think my biggest problem, and this is probably how a lot of people feel, is we simply did not get enough Joker in a Joker movie. At least from what we saw at the end of the last movie when he's standing on the top of the police car, you know, wiping blood on his face to make the smile. That was the type of insanity I was hoping that we would see more of in this. Yeah. I was hoping for an insane Joker who was going to, you know, just have a trail of chaos that follows behind him. I think we could have, I wish a lot of musical numbers would have been Harley Quinn and Joker committing crimes. I think you could have done a lot of fun stuff with that where, you know, they're holding people at gunpoint, you know, stealing, causing chaos, whatever. I feel like you could do a lot of cool stuff with that. But I think in order to make room for that, you should have just cut all of the scenes where it was just Arthur Fleck on trial and not the Joker.
Yeah. I like courtroom dramas. Like I like dialogue heavy stuff. You know, I love The West Wing. I mean, it's not a courtroom drama, but you know, in the same vein. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that the courtroom scenes worked very much.
I loved it when Joker was in the makeup and like when he was interviewing Mr. Puddles.
Yeah.
I thought him doing the impressions and him, you know, he was in a courtroom, so he had to be a little bit more reserved and less chaotic as he usually is. But like, I could have kept watching more of Joker in a courtroom. I think that was hilarious. Like the judge was getting, you know, exponentially more mad at him for cracking jokes on the side and doing impressions and stuff like that. I did really think like they could have done a little bit more with that because I love seeing the Joker in that way. Yeah, I guess.
To give this movie some credit, because like a lot of talented people work in this movie. I think that scene and the scene we talked about it earlier where they were, you know, running away from Arkham, which isn't even really called Arkham like it's not called Arkham Asylum, even though it's set in the past. It's called Arkham State Hospital.
Yeah.
Whatever. They're running towards the gates. They're running away. I think that scene was my favorite scene. I think it that was the scene that was most like a musical. I would have preferred for there to be more stuff that happened.
I also felt like you saw the most personality. Like, if we're looking for, like, stuff that resembles comic books, I felt like them dancing in the spotlight or whatever it was, the searchlight that was, down on them. I felt like them hiding from the cops, them running from a burning state hospital, dancing like that. I felt like that was very much Joker and Harley comic book relationship. Like, that felt very on par.
I that is a great scene. I think it worked very well. And we can get into this later. Probably don't have time to get too much into this. I don't like the Harley Quinn. That being said,
I know that.
That is a great scene. The visuals are fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into the Harley Quinn aspect of it, and then we'll go into the final thing that happened in the movie.
Well, yeah,
let's talk about Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn essentially was the dominant one.
She was the villain, kind of. She was the manipulator,
which completely flips source material on its head.
Yeah. And I'm fine with new interpretation. It's weird.
It threw me off guard, for sure. That's not what I was expecting, a hardcore Joker fangirl, and that's kind of what we got, but it was also manipulative hardcore Joker fangirl.
Yeah, but to make her the villain is, I think, a bad choice, because I like Harley Quinn as a comic character. I think that it's good to have her complicated, but she means so much to people who have survived abuse. To make her the bad guy,
sure,
is a bad choice.
But that's the thing, is she came from a very loving home in this iteration of the Joker.
Yeah, and I also didn't understand, we don't really get much of a reason why she acts the way she does. Why she manipulated, why she believes in his politics, or his non-politics, what people think that he represents.
But
that's interesting.
Anyways,
all right, let's get it. I think we only have enough time, because I do think to talk about
you want to cover
the final shot and that interaction of the person who stabbed Arthur Fleck.
Oh, right.
And I'm looking at our time to make sure we don't go over. We have 95 seconds left.
Here's what I think we could. I don't did you hear about why it happened in this movie and not the first Joker movie?
Why?
Christopher Nolan vetoed. Initially, Joker was going to use a piece of glass while he's in the middle of the city and carve the smile onto his face. Christopher Nolan vetoed that. He said no, because at the time he was an executive for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
He said,
no, we're not doing that. That's way too much like the Joker that I made back in 2012. But now he's working for Universal. So Todd Phillips, what does he do? And in the Joker movie, he gets stabbed by that psychopath, and then the psychopath starts carving a smile into his face. I barely caught it the first time around, and when I was looking for it the second time around, Todd Phillips still tried to hide, air quotations, the fact that, that was actually going on. Now, do I think that this means that maybe this can lead into DCU continuity? Probably not.
I think James Gunn wants to stay very far away from this.
Probably. Understandably so. But
that was an interesting when I first saw it, I think, oh, that's cool. And if it didn't, and it was oh, this will almost work if it's not connected to the Nolan trilogy. But then I thought about it more, as but that means that this version of the Joker is political, which for me does not work, because the Joker pretends to be political. Anyway, it is 3:30 now, so welcome back.
Yeah, that was a great conversation, but we'll as time goes on, we'll maybe dip back into this, and we can reference this in the past if I stumble across some revelations about the Joker movie, and maybe Todd Phillips comes out and says something, and we can crack this wide open again. But
he has said a lot of things.
He has
said a lot of things.
He certainly has. That definitely, I think, have potentially made DC fans even more upset. But that's beside the point. Welcome to Don't Change the Channel.
All right.
We are going to we got some pretty exciting news. We actually called this last week. I was editing our last episode, and you said that we were probably going to get a casting announcement for Jon Stewart by the time our next episode rolls around, and you were absolutely right. So, Jonah, who's our Jon Stewart?
Yeah, so Aaron Pierre was confirmed is officially cast as Jon Stewart, is officially broken by a couple of outlets. I forget who exactly, but it's confirmed by James Gunn on Twitter yesterday.
He spent no time. I mean, I got the notification from James Gunn because I've got notifications set on Instagram whenever he posts something, and yeah, he came out straight up and he's like, "Yep, this is absolutely true." Because he'll also famously debunk theories too. Which I think I was also on Twitter at lunch when that happened. I promise I'm not on Twitter that much for anyone watching that's concerned about my mental health. But I mean, I think it's cool that we have Jon Stewart. We probably do have to address there's some controversy in terms of colorism that we're not going to get into because we are both white people. And I'm going to stay silent throughout this entire duration.
But there are some people that are upset that because Jon Stewart is a character who was designed and represents people with a darker complexion. People are upset that there is an underrepresentation of those characters in Hollywood, but that is a topic which our opinions do not matter because we are both white, and so we're just going to acknowledge that happened and move on. But it is
great.
Yeah, I don't think I said anything there that would get me in trouble.
Sure.
But yeah, it's I'm so happy to see the show moving along. I'm very excited. I like the writers on it very much, and the casting seems okay.
I'm excited. I know you weren't thrilled about Kyle Chandler, joining, but he's gonna do fine.
There's nothing like egregious to me.
No,
which is good.
That's good. Yeah,
and I trust like the writers, the people that we know who are writing this project. Like I trust them so much because they've made some of my favorite nerd stuff. Period.
I remember way back when all of the Snyder, Whedon castings were starting up, and I saw Ben Affleck as Batman, and I'm gonna say it, I don't like Ben Affleck as my Batman. I saw Jason Momoa cast as Aquaman, and I'm like, okay, looking back, I was like, now I'm more okay with Jason Momoa as Aquaman, but like, and then we got the picture of Jared Leto as Joker, and I remember like my dad showed me on the laptop just what Jared Leto as Joker, shirtless, the face tattoos, green slick back hair. I'm like, oh my God, really?
Yeah.
So, and the fact that we haven't had any stuff like this happen yet, where I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. I'm pretty happy that
Yeah. Overall, we've got good casting. I'm excited for that. Witches season 1 is coming. I know that's I think.
Is this the Witches? Like the comic that you gave me that one time?
Yeah, Scott Snyder.
Oh, that's cool.
Scott Snyder announced via Twitter, I think yesterday or the day before, that season 1 and season 2 of Witches is already written. Season 1 is already written. Half of season 2 is written. It's going to be an animated TV show, and casting is underway. It'll premiere soon. This
How
is Witches.
soon is soon?
I don't know because like it's not cast
I feel
yet.
like you usually write season 1 first, see how it does, and then do a season 2.
I don't know. I don't know. But I'm very excited because that is for anyone. That's Witches, Wytches. It's a image book from about 15 years ago.
Very good. Very good.
It's phenomenal. You should read it if you like horror comics or just horror in general. Would be a great entry point. And I'm very excited. I think an animated show is the right way to go for this.
Speaking of witches, Agatha All Along, we watched the 5th episode last night.
Yes. Spoiler free.
We're gonna give our spoiler free review, so don't tune out. But there were a lot of times where last night I was looking over at you, and I'm like, oh my God, like, because I think I can say this now since it's been a couple weeks, but Mrs. Hart died.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Sharon Hart, and to say something without saying anything, she kind of came back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say more than that, but a lot of interesting stuff happened with this. Like, this show is unpredictable in the best way possible, I think.
And we got one heck of a cliffhanger at the end, which I think, like, my jaw just dropped. Like, I'm so excited for the rest of this show.
Yeah.
Just because I love the chemistry of the characters. Yeah. I think we said this last week, but the chemistry of the characters is great. Agatha, I mean, the more episodes I watch, like, the more awesome I realize Kathryn Hahn is. Like,
she's amazing.
She is so... She does it so well.
Yeah.
And especially in the last episode, like, she went off. Like, because so far all of the... I don't think this is necessarily qualifies as a spoiler, but so far all of the trials have been geared towards one certain witch. And in this trial, which all trials are pretty much just escape rooms at this point, this trial is essentially geared towards Agatha, and you are able to learn more about her past, and she does things and things happen, and to say the least, I'm excited for next episode. Next Wednesday.
I like this is one show, like, even more so than the Penguin, where just like. We're just like, I have to see what happens next week. Like, and like it's not even like a fake Bendis or J.K. Rowling like cliffhanger where it's just like, oh my gosh, can you believe this thing that we're gonna reveal next time? Okay, never mind. But it's like actual, very well written. It looks very good.
Yeah.
We get to see more of the Agatha Rio relationship, which is great.
That's fun to see it play out.
I'm loving the music. Stays good on the post credit scenes.
Yeah, we were trying to look for a post credit scene.
During the credits.
But there was no post-credit scene, which sucks because now I have to wait until next week to get an idea of what it's going to look like. Right. But moving on, we've got Daredevil Born Again. Now, Daredevil Born Again has been on my mind a lot. The Netflix show Daredevil is maybe one of my most favorite television shows of all time. Yeah. I think they did the character so well, and ever since Disney got those rights to use Daredevil, I've been freaking scared. I mean, yes, he was in She-Hulk, and he was kind of a laughingstock, which kind of hurt me. But Daredevil Born Again is showing promise because, according to the Marvel executive Brad Winderbaum, Daredevil Born Again is in good hands, saying, imagine if New York City was as intricate and problematic and as scary as the world of Game of Thrones. That has me really excited.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I've seen that quote before. That also reminds me of probably The Namesake, because I've seen some of the Daredevil show. I haven't seen all of it, but I've read a fair amount of Daredevil comics, like the Frank Miller run, like half of Frank Miller's run, and a lot of Bendis and some Nocenti. And like the namesake of Daredevil Born Again is based off of the Frank Miller story, and that's how.
But they're not adapting anything.
Yeah, but like that's because like that description of New York City as how Frank Miller viewed New York City.
Yeah,
like because he like especially with Daredevil in Daredevil, it's like Game of Thrones. It's scary. So that's interesting. I hope that they,
my hopes are high. My hopes are high for this. I've seen some set photos of a very comic accurate looking Daredevil and Punisher, and I am just beyond excited for this.
Oh, Punisher's in this?
You haven't seen the set photos?
No, I haven't even seen all of Daredevil yet.
Give me a break. Gosh.
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
We
gotta go on because we're against the clock now.
Yeah, we're gonna do a quick Penguin episode 3 review. That was
it was really good.
It was really good. The story keeps on.
Agatha and Penguin are treating us well right now.
Yeah, like the story keeps on progressing. Once again, like another one of those shows that I'm very happy at. Like you can't guess what's going to happen. Which like sometimes you can, especially with superhero movies. It's like, oh, I know what's going to happen in this episode.
Vic, without any spoilers, Vic has to decide whether he wants to continue working for the Penguin or if he wants to go to California.
Yeah,
California with his girlfriend, and it is very interesting to see how he decides that and what he ultimately ends up choosing. And the way it's all done is just so brilliant, and I love this show so much.
Yeah, like Vic's character in this is explored more, and we get some of like the backstory and all that stuff.
I like seeing the backstory.
It's great. If they kill Vic, I'm gonna be so sad.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
But and also just like the politics with the Falcones and the Maronis like kept on moving, and it stayed interesting the entire time, and I'm just loving it. And real quick before we move on, sorry, did you have anything else you want to say?
No.
Because we are running a little bit late on time. Superman and Lois season 4, first 2 episodes, came out Monday night. I watched that. I know you're not watching that show, but I mean, if you like Superman,
I'm glad you love it.
If you like Superman, if you like Lois Lane, then you'll like this show. It's on season 4. The first 2 seasons are, I think, on Max, HBO Max. This right now is on the CW. It's great. I mean, like it is a CW show, but it feels like Superman.
It's one of the few CW shows that actually works.
It's my second favorite of the CW superhero shows.
Other than what? Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol wasn't CW.
Oh, well,
that was HBO.
Look at me. I'm an idiot.
First favorite Supergirl.
Right.
I'm a huge Supergirl fan. All right, we're gonna move on to Game Over.
All right. Not a lot to report in on right now. A lot of the stuff that I've said is stuff that I've kind of said in the past weeks, except with more verification and confirmation of what's actually going on. But the Fortnite Mares event hits tomorrow at 8 a.m. We did get a Fortnite Mares trailer earlier this week, which showcased Billy the Puppet, Leatherface, and a couple of other Fortnite characters along with Mephisto, like the game files had previously leaked out. And, I showed you the trailer, and, we both agree that Mephisto is a little skinny. He's a little skinny. Mephisto is usually this big buff dude, but he looks just like iterations of Mephisto I've seen before. So I'm just surprised that we're seeing Leatherface and Billy the Puppet. I mean, these are 2 horror icons from really graphic rated R movies, and the fact that now they're on the same playing field as I don't know, there's some Mrs. Incredible, I guess. You can have Leatherface and Mrs. Incredible on the same team now, which is just mind blowing. But yeah, also in the back of a loading screen that was leaked, it appeared that there was a character doing the Thriller dance from Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh, cool.
This isn't super bizarre because they've done, a couple years back, they did the Monster Mash, and then they did this TikTok dance called Fright Funk that they brought into the item shop. So it's not super surprising that the Thriller emote would be hitting the store soon, but it is pretty... It's pretty exciting. And along with Billy, Leatherface, and Mephisto, Disney is bringing in Captain Hook, Maleficent, and Cruella de Vil sometime in October. So that's... Hey, look at me. I'm 1 minute faster with Game Over. I'm so good at this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that you're happy about it.
Right. This is exactly how I feel about you and Superman and Lois.
Yeah. It's like
I'm so glad you're having fun, and it brings you joy, just like how I'm sure. I mean, I would say Fortnite brings me joy, but if you saw me this morning, I was anything but joyful while playing Fortnite.
Well, I should say one other thing about Superman and Lois. These were not 2 happy episodes. This is a very sad series at this point, but I'm just happy to see these characters portrayed in such a way that's so loving.
Just like how me playing Fortnite this morning was very sad and pathetic.
Oh yeah, and the Lex Luthor in this series is great.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor appeared at the end of season 3 and is a character in season 4, and it's great. It's once again like CW, like the CW Superman Supergirl area shows a lot more restraint than the other parts have, and yeah, it's very interesting seeing this version of. It's probably like, I don't know, it's probably like my 4th favorite Lex Luthor that I've seen, but like, you know, it's a good portrayal.
Yeah.
All right, Comic Corner. So yesterday and today you read All In and Absolute Batman.
I did, and I loved it. I read Absolute Batman just the hour before we went on air, and
also known as the Batman Who Lifts.
Do you coin the term as the Batman Who Lifts?
No, that was someone else.
Okay. I mean, All In was super cool. Like, just, you know, seeing the dual realities and all of that.
Do you think that as someone who doesn't read like the big, who doesn't read like DC titles month to month and who hasn't read like all of like the big events recently, like you read Absolute Power but not like Dark Crisis or Infinite Frontier, do you think that you understood what was going on in All In?
I think it would have been very helpful to read Absolute Power before you read All In, because like it's not absolutely necessary. I know that was the question. It's probably not absolutely necessary, because, you know, Batman makes some reference to Amanda Waller, which is exactly what, you know, Absolute Power was all about. So you probably don't. It's probably just nice to read it, so you just have some context.
Yeah. For me, I think it's more about like you probably understand the story. There's just like little like references here that you kind of get.
Yeah.
Like there's like a reference to like the Miracle Machine, where it's like, oh my gosh, it's the Miracle Machine.
And even I didn't even remember what that was.
A lot of people, like, if you haven't read Final Crisis, you probably don't know what the Miracle Machine is. And don't read Final Crisis. I say this as a huge Grant Morrison fan. Don't read Final Crisis. It's crazy, and I don't most people do not understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Absolute Batman came out yesterday. It's amazing.
That's got me excited. It is. I told you. I'm like, is it blasphemy if I say that I almost like this Batman more than the typical, you know, Bruce Wayne, like I guess the Bruce Wayne that we all know and love?
I mean, not really. That's kind of the point, because he's not a billionaire. So like, yeah, you probably are going to like him more. The normal person is probably going to be able to relate to this Batman more. Like his dad was like a teacher and his mom like a
and Batman
worker.
Uses guns.
No, he doesn't use guns. He used a shotgun that had that was modified with batarangs. It's not technically a gun. I think that's more of like the thing where like Batman is a hypocrite.
If this existed back in 1966, he would definitely call it the Bat Shotgun.
Yeah, but it's not like
it's a shotgun with batarangs in it.
Listen, Batman is a hypocrite. I think Batman is I think this Batman is also anti-guns because there's like a reference to that.
But as long as he shoves his own materials in the barrel of a shotgun, that's all that matters.
Yeah, as long as to him, it's not technically a gun. Like Batman has picked up a like last year, Batman picked up a
grappling gun
and shot someone with it. He's like, it's fine, it's not a firearm, and I'm like, dude, but because Batman has his morals, but he's also like a hypocrite.
It's all right. Gotham City has really gone in the toilet in this issue, so that's fine.
The art is great. Nick Dragotta and forget the Frank Martin on colors. Gotham City looks great. I
want to talk about Alfred for a second.
Alfred is amazing. I think that's like the main takeaway at the comic shop. Yesterday, Christine was like, "This is worth reading just for Alfred alone."
Oh, absolutely. And it is dark. Yeah. This is such a I know that's the entire point, because Darkseid initially just made this whole planet to be just much worse and much dark than typical continuity. But the crimes that people are committing and the way that Batman handles it, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, this is a Batman who, grew up not with privilege, grew up like middle class, lower middle class, and has like a much more rugged fighting style. He has an axe.
Well, personality-wise, he's the exact same Batman. Like, he's still super smart, almost genius-level intellect, studied criminal psychology or psychology, whatever. All of these, like, military strategies, stuff like that. So, like, he's still the absolute unit that he's always been. He's just a little bit more relatable now.
Yeah. It's like, the whole idea is taking away Batman's advantages in terms of like his privilege. Which is, I think that's something that it's a complicated decision. 2 months ago, I was like, so it's just a Daredevil comic?
How dare you? How dare you?
Like that's what cause
Daredevil is cool.
Yeah.
Do not take that away.
But I think this isn't just Daredevil because it's about the ideas. Like, it's still about the mythological character Batman.
Right.
Just in a different situation, which is, like the whole impetus behind Elseworlds, which is why the Absolute Universe is also called the Elseworld. He also
leans into the bat part of Batman, which I love. He's literally dangling from a ceiling with his cape, wrapped around him like bats do. I'm like, this is a bat, man. Like, this is exactly how we should be seeing Batman.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. There's like the guilt, like he feels guilty that his dad died. There's the
which begs the question: is his mom still alive? Is Martha Wayne still alive?
Yeah, she's there. It's at the end of the episode.
Did I miss it?
Of the comic? Yeah.
Oh.
He goes to his home and like gets a hug from his mom. So Martha Wayne's still alive, which is scary. You
think Joker's gonna get to her?
I don't know. It's like this is like this in the Ultimate Universe. I'm like, but like these people have families.
This is weird. We are from both Marvel and DC. We're getting
an alternate universe.
That's kind of
which I will say like both Marvel and DC started working on their new Ultimate and their new Absolute universes before they knew that each other were doing that. It's just. Marvel got to it like 6 months first because apparently this has been in the works at DC from like Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson for like 4 years.
Oh,
they've been planning this.
Oh, I'm sure they're probably not super happy that
yes.
Marvel just. Oh, yeah. I would feel awful. Like, even if I was working at Marvel, just the fact that if I somehow knew that they did it longer and they've worked on it more, I would feel still bad because now you've kind of got dueling alternate realities right now.
Well, yeah, and I think, Jonathan Hickman, like, probably, like, had the idea, like, has probably, like, been working on this for, like, a similar amount of time since he left X-Men, probably. But, yeah, it's great. Read Absolute Batman. You don't need to know anything going in.
No, you don't.
Like, there's context in this and, like, in, like, Dark Crisis, if you've read Dark Crisis, that, like, adds to this. But you don't need to know anything going in.
I mean, crying out loud, I was actually able to speak during Comic Corner.
Yeah.
That never happens. How cool is that?
Yeah. You can probably, at least for the next, like, 2 years, my guess would be, if you just want to read Absolute Batman, like, and no other, like, DC comics, you can just do that. Probably the same thing with Wonder Woman or Superman. So I think it's worth a try. Not that, like, this book needs any help, just, like, I think you guys would like it. Other things we read this week, I read Action Comics, number 1070, which is a weekly series now, which is exciting.
Oh.
There's going to be, like, one story about Superman and one story about Supergirl in it, and they're both kind of...
Wait, and this ties into All In?
They're just putting All In on all of the books. Oh. It's technically, it's like just an initiative. Marketing. Yeah, it's like an initiative. It's just like saying, hey, we have new storylines in all of our books.
Okay.
Except Batman, which Batman doesn't have any, like normal Batman doesn't have a new storyline. They're just going to pretend that it is.
Yeah.
Because Chip Zdarsky's at the end of his run.
Oops.
Absolute, like, it's good. It's written by Mark Waid, and the other half is written by Peter J. Tomasi, I think. Mm-hmm. It's good. If you like Superman, read it. If you want to read 2 Superman books right now, if you want to read 1 Superman book right now, read Superman by Joshua Williamson. Okay. It's great. Exceptional X-Men came out yesterday, as well as X-Force number 4. Those are both great books. I would recommend it if you're an X-Men fan. especially if you're a Kitty Pryde or a Emma Frost fan, I would really recommend picking up Exceptional X-Men. The art's great too. Carmen Canero. It's written by Eve Ewing. Definitely worth the read. X-Force stays great. I know you've been reading some of that. There's Man-Thing in this, so that's cool.
Actually, I cut off my X-Force subscription.
Well, yeah. It's good though. There's Forge and there's a Psylocke and a Scani, so
it was interesting. It didn't click with me.
Yeah.
I was hoping Deadpool would stick around for a little bit longer. But I have Deadpool number 7 coming in, which I was telling Jonah before, this whole started. It's good. It's still a very good. I just hope that I don't remember her name, but it's essentially Kid Deadpool. I'm not going to call it Kidpool because that's way too similar to Deadpool's daughter. I'm going to call it Deadpool's daughter. Deadpool's daughter has not reached the as much wisecrackingness that Deadpool has been famous for. So I feel like if you're going to be taking up the mantle of Deadpool, you should probably take on some certain qualities, because as of right now, she's just so cool and she kicks butt and she's amazing. But I do sometimes miss my boy Wade Wilson.
Is there a deep sadness about her?
No.
Oh.
No, she just wanted to follow in her father's footsteps, I guess. I mean, right now, like, Wade Wilson's regenerative factor has been taken away.
Yeah.
And so currently I think he's without an arm and a leg right now. So currently he can't do anything. His healing factor should come back. It's just a question as to when. Yeah. But I'm also reading Secret Wars number 10 and then Black Panther number 9, which I still need to read. Ultimate Black Panther. Yeah. Ultimate Black Panther number 9. So, which
I've heard great things about. I'm not reading yet. I'm going to wait till it gets to at the end of an arc, and then I'm just going to borrow your copies.
Yep, that's fine.
Comics coming next. We've got a few ones. Ultimate Spider-Man number 10. We're both excited for. That's something we're both reading. There's a new artist on it. I'm gonna miss the Marco Cicchetto art, but it's Jonathan Hickman. His writing is still great. Yeah. Nightwing is at the end. The final issue of the Tom Taylor Bruno Redondo run is coming out next week. Nightwing. So make sure to pick that up if you've been reading that. And it's a great arc. Like, once it's mostly collection trades, or if you want to read it online, that's something I really recommend if you like Nightwing. There's a new Titans arc, and a whole new creative team on that. Mm-hmm. And Uncanny X-Men number 4 is coming out. And I've heard things that we might be getting the origin of Wonder Woman's daughter next week. And
who is Wonder Woman's daughter?
It's like it's a whole. I do not have time to explain that right now because we're almost at the end of our thing. But it's just saying that, like, in the backup stories of Wonder Woman, there's been like her daughter, like, in the future is like hanging out with Superman's son and Batman's son, Damian.
It's cool, I guess.
Yeah. It's a good. It's slow moving. If you don't like the slow moving Tom King stuff, then you're probably not gonna like it. I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get Wonder Woman. Maybe I hope that's true. I hope I'm not misleading you guys. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to us or watching us. If you're seeing this on YouTube a couple days later, what can we expect next time?
Well, to be honest, I don't think we're gonna do another main event. I think nerd news is definitely bursting right now. We've got all sorts of announcements and stuff, and it's just kind of like, well. We don't know. So there's a chance we actually shelved our main event for today. Really, I guess Joker Folie Deux was kind of our main event within itself.
Yeah, we talked about that for a solid 15 minutes.
But I think we might talk about the future of the DCU potentially, or we'll talk about some of our absolute wish list items.
All right.
But yeah, no, that's our show. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here next Thursday on WCRD 91.3 FM. Have a great night, everyone.